I'm Mishka, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's episode of Our Life Beginnings and Always, we are going to be moving on from Derek's moments from step 2. And the only thing, sorry, let's take out my Invisalign. But the only thing we have left is his epilogue in step 4. So yeah, I wanted to briefly go back over this. Yeah, he has a special epilogue in step 4. And yeah, we played all of his moments, and we have to choose to remain in touch and with Derek during step 3. So I will get to that point, and then I'll cut out all of step 3. I don't know if I'll play in the moments, honestly. I probably won't, because I want to play this so badly. But it says here, then you will have the option to play Derek's epilogue during step 4. You can only have one epilogue per playthrough. You can make a save on the epilogue selection page to reload there and pick another later. Derek's DLC can be a friendship or romance story. So yeah, I just want to go over that a little, get a little refresher. But yes, everyone, we have completed step 2 for Derek. It's bittersweet, honestly. I'm like, I don't want to move on. Like I said with Cove, like I was crying after the last episode was done because I love this game. I don't want it to end, but it won't be all over because once Baxter's story comes out or DLC or whatever, then we'll play with him, and then we also have Our Life Now and Forever. If like you guys do not know, they post a lot on Twitter. I have a Twitter and I do retweet their stuff, so make sure to go follow me if you want to see that. Or go follow GB Patch Games. They're a really good company, makes such good games, honestly. But yeah, everyone, that's our plan for today. We're going to be starting step 4, but I'll be going through like step 3 until like we choose to stay in touch with Derek. So yeah. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe and share this video with your friends, thinking about my amazing channel just like you have right now. So yeah, let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. And then summer ended. Moving to the next step, yes. Okay, so I actually wanted to quickly go over this. So I remember from step 2, Derek asked us something with like before this even came out. This was a long time ago. It was like over a year ago or something like that. But I remember him asking us something, and I just wanted to go over it again. A light summer breeze blew through your hair, and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked at the ground distractedly. Dad's still going to be a while, so do you want to go for a walk? Sure, I don't mind. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination planned. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something he could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow, you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy in the expression. He turned away and the smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground. You raised an eyebrow. If you want to talk about something in here, I'm a little sad. It's just, with school starting back up again, it's going to be harder to visit. I'm going to have homework and clubs and practices and everything else. It really sucks we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This was really concerning him. What if we don't have time? You channeled some optimism into the conversation. We'll make time. We can go over the phone and have plans for weekends. It'll be okay. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was hard to read his expression. Hey May, I actually wanted to talk to you about something if you don't mind. There was a pause and you waited him to finish his thought. I was just kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. I could be with a guy. Okay, then. He hesitated before finishing his question. So, what I mean is, is there any guy you think is kind of, like, cool that you like around here? Not at school or anything like that. He ducked his head further, you thought about it. I like you. Derek's eyes widened. For a moment he wondered if his heart had stopped because he stood there completely frozen. And then quietly, almost breathlessly, he asked a question. Really? Maybe you don't really get what I'm asking about. He mumbled to himself for a while. So... Derek pulled himself together, somewhat meekly. He looked at you while he tried to project confidence. His posture was too tight for you to believe it. He was nervous. You know, think ahead and everything is important. You've got to get yourself a game plan and all that. It's good to make plans, especially backup plans. He babbled, all full of energy and forced gusto. Well, anyways, I heard about this thing where people make pacts with their good friends. If they don't find anyone else, then they get together. Together. Like, they get married and stuff. So I was thinking, since it's good to have plans, it may be cool if we did something like that. His eyes widened, he started to make frantic hand gestures. Just, you know, then we never have to worry about the future of finding someone. We can send it like a whole decade in the future, forever from now. We'd have graduated high school and probably college too. We'd have jobs and be really grown up. I mean, we'd probably have our own places and maybe our own pets and student loans and cars. Derek babbled on for a while more. It was as if all the words he held in during your walk had burst out now all at once. So yeah, what do you think? Derek, I do know what you're talking about. I like you. Why won't you listen to me? He had a pause, desperate to find a way to explain himself. Well, that's a big decision. You don't have to think about that kind of thing right now. It's better to worry about all that later, when we're grown up. That's why it's a good idea to have a plan. You know, I like you a lot too, and honestly, we'd work out the best for that. So... a deal. Really? Awesome! Derek brightened significantly and started bouncing excitedly on the balls of his feet. Okay, then let's do it. Oh, no way! They added a CG? Holy crap! Oh my god, y'all! He held out his hand, offering a shake. Officially, he repeated the terms of the deal. If in 10 years, I, Derek 𝐕𝐬𝐬𝐻, is still single, and if 10 years you, May Taylor, are still single, we both agree that the two of us will get together. Oh my god! Go for it! You passed right by his outstretched arm to place a slight kiss against his smiling mouth. Oh my god! Yo, it happened! When you parted, Derek gasped and slapped the hand against his chest. Oh, that works too! Alright, thanks. I feel better about the future already. Oh my god, I'm so glad I went to that. Oh my god, I'm so glad I stopped at that. He laughed and scratched the back of his head. You could tell he was giddy about this and you felt happy too. Glad to hear it, fiance, sort of. Glad to see it, kind of fiance. Oh my god, y'all are so cute. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. Derek's steps forward seemed lighter than before. Alright, y'all. After Derek went back home, you settled in for the night. And I'll be cutting off here, and I'll be back. Start of classes ended the relaxed, free days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of the school year routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much, to his great dismay. With school itself and after-school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take the trip out to your neighborhood. Especially because he was always at some training camp or on a new regime with a strict schedule. The two of you were usually stuck with merely telling each other about what was happening in your lives instead of sharing your days in the same place. But he was always good at anticipating things and being prepared for them. Derek knew he wouldn't be able to be with you that much going forward. That was probably the reason he pushed away any notion of the two liking each other as only a concept for way in the future when you were adults and had taxes. Or it was at least one of the reasons he never fully accepted it, you were sure. But you still kept in touch over the phone as best you could. Okay, you guys, so I just wanted to include this because I thought this was really interesting. Baxter stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet. He began to speak, but suddenly stopped and closed his mouth. So this is when we first met Baxter. And you guys remember, we met him at the Cypress. So, He became absorbed in his own thoughts, tapping a finger to the side of his chin as he stared at you. You shot Cove a confused glance. He shrugged in response. After a few moments, Baxter had the same smile curl from before. He removed the finger from his face and used it to point directly at you. We've met before. What? When? Baxter continued to smile widely, his head tilted slightly to the side as he studied your visage. It's embarrassing, but I haven't remembered that part yet. He laughed cordially while Cove stared at him in disbelief. Baxter chuckled further, Mirth growing at what must have been a very amusing situation in his mind. I'm getting there. Don't tell me. I know you want to, but do not. It'll come to me. He continued looking you up and down, hand back over his chin while he racked his brain for answers, and then recognition appeared in his eyes. With a snap of his fingers, he announced his revelation as though he had forgotten his own birthday. The cypress at the summersary, of course. Turning away from you, Baxter began rambling to himself about the details. That had to have been before any regional, so I was at the time about 14 years old. So that makes it 5 years ago from now, right? Cove's mouth fell open. Are you kidding me? Is he serious? Did you really meet this guy at the country club 5 years ago? If it helps, you were with another person when we spoke. Green eyes, short hair, short generally, with a cute bow tie, I believe. Oh, so you and Derek? Derek, that was his name. Shocked, but yes, you did meet him once at the Cypress. It took its explanation to get it, but the memory of the guy you and Derek chatted with was coming back to you. Cove's eyes darted between you and Baxter again. The instigator of this discussion lightly gestured with his hands in response. It's good not to forget a face. Cove, remember when I told you the crazy story about Derek and I accidentally crashing another's group party one time? Yeah, that's what he is talking about. Did you succeed in sneaking into our story? I did, thank you for asking. Huh? Why were you there? You see, my parents are members of the Cypress. I happened to be in that particular location for an event related to my dance circuit. That was the chosen venue because they already had experience with the business in other branches. Funnily enough, the entire reason they joined was for the connections they can make with other members there. Looks like that perk has finally hit for me too. Originally, I thought it was only any good since I could occasionally dance there. Baxter stopped and stood up straighter. He grinned. Dance. Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing earlier. Oh, I don't know much about dancing, but that's pretty cool. Okay, you guys, so I was going through the moment hang for step 3. Like how we hung out with like Terry and Miranda. Because I wanted to see if there was anything new with like the crepe, but this came up, so I'm like, okay. On one particular square of concrete, you and Cove shared a private glance of amusement. You passed the mark he's immortalized in stone from 5 years ago. Oh my god, that's... You hope Derek was having fun out there somewhere too. Maybe he was hanging out with his brothers instead of spending all his time on planning and training. Okay, y'all, so, here, again, I'm just including this just to include it, but this is where, Derek calls us at the end of step 3. Yeah. Unexpectedly, your phone started ringing. You dug it out, curious to see the caller ID. Feeling your heart jump with excitement, you answered the video call request. It was Derek. Hey, it's been a while. Oh my god. Holy crap. Seriously, but what's up? The voice that came through was much deeper than it had been when you first met, but it still had the same exact amount of enthusiasm as a kid. Have you been enjoying these crazy summer days? It's been amazing. That's awesome. You'll have to catch me up on that. What about you? How's your summer been? You were beyond curious to know what Derek had been up to since the last time you spoke. He chuckled, noticing your invested tone. Honestly, I've just been slammed with stuff lately. College applications and scholarship inquiries. What else is new? What else is new? But you're even more toned now, he flirted. Faintly heard a slight hitch in his breathing. You smirked. You're right about that one. I hope you can see it in person sometime. Oh my god. He spoke so softly, it was like he was whispering it to you. There was no stopping the grin that grew in your face. You could only hope no one asked what was so interesting. I hope so too. Oh hey, I finally get the chance to say that. I met that boy again, the dancer from the Cypress Summer Story. Huh? Wait, hold on. I need a second for my brain to catch up. That was fair. The human mind only had so much processing power, and that revelation was an overload. You waited patiently in semi-silence. Some muffled mumbles came over the speaker, as well as a scratchy interface that you suspected was Derek actually scratching his ear near the phone. Alright, so I'm breaking this down. There was that time you took me to the country club when we were barely teenagers. Yes. And I asked you to show me around. We went on a walk. Yeah. Then we ended up in a totally different party for a whole other group of people that we weren't even supposed to be at. The confirmation process continued. Right. In that party, we talked to a kid around our age to ask what was going on. He told us what I said before about it being a private occasion for people who were not us. It was for a dance circuit. You've got it. That's who you met. You got it. His name is Baxter. He rented a house right next to Cove's. No way! How did you remember him? He remembered me and you too. He did. You verified reality for Derek for a final time. He did. He said your bow tie was cute. Wow, I didn't remember I wore a bow tie. He's superhuman. But hey, I can live with that being my legacy. Back to the dancer, huh? Your summer was even more exciting than I would have guessed, and I hadn't banked on it being decently wild. And yours was exactly as eventful as I thought it'd be. Yeah, it always is. The distant tone of his voice made him feel even further away from you than he was. That wasn't what you had wanted, and you attempted to bring the topic back to something cheerier. What's going on with your family? Are George and Nico being good? My little brothers are punks, but I guess they're doing alright. You both laughed at that. It was easy to imagine the grin on his face. Mom and Dad are fine. That's great. My moms are too. Turning your attention back to your surroundings, you smiled warmly at your family buzzing around. Towels were laid out and chairs and umbrellas were being set up. Actually, I'm with my mom's right now. Liz and Lee are visiting here too. Oh, that's fun, but that's the deal. I'll let you get back to it. Are you sure? I don't mind. I'm sure. I'm not about to lose your number. Okay, bye. Bye, May. Have a heck of a day. Oh my god. Hanging up, the conversation left you energized and in good spirits. It was exactly what you needed to make this day even better. Oh my god. Oh my god, y'all. Oh my god. Okay. I got to I skipped through all of step 3 except for like those few moments, but oh my god, here's the epilogue choose screen. So choose an epilogue. Here you can choose which epilogue to play. Note you can only play one and then the game will end. Enjoy. So we have Cove, we have Baxter, which that's DLC and it's logged. Did he not yet? And then we have Derek. So let's go, Derek. Oh my god! 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 In between. Oh! Oh my god! All right. We need to look stunning for Derek. Cause honey, oh my god. He is good looking. Oh my god. Alright, I'm like trying to get through this because I just want to get this done. Oh my god. Maybe we should dye our hair. Oh my god. Yeah, make it beige? No. Do red. Yellow. No, a braid. Oh my god. Glasses? No. Slender, large, medium, chubby, slender. String, jewels, tattoo. Oh my god, we're getting tattoos all over us. We're gonna be so sexy. Oh my god, a head, no. Long, no long. Red. Nose ring, oh my god, yes. We should get a nose ring. Hell yes, we look amazing. Actually, maybe we should get some scars to make us look badass. Oh my god. There we go. We look amazing. Actually, maybe. I like the yellow one. Alright. Yes! Go! My feelings for Cove, Fawn, yes. No. My feelings for Derek, love. Love, love. What is Derek's initiative for step 4? Ooh. Maybe a high. Oh my god, yo! And Surity's growing up in the loving cradle of Sunset Brook came to an end. In the years that passed since graduation, you'd moved out of your childhood home and made your own way in the world. Oh no, we didn't live in with Cove. We lived with a pet, and you had multiple ways of earning income. And Yeah. Oh, yeah. Didn't we say she was sporty? I don't know. I was saying the TV and movie. You're actually? No, sporting. Your family members went through the same kinds of leaps into independence. Liz and Lee both eventually earned degrees and started fantastic careers in new towns. But your moms and Cove's father still lived on the same street as they had for all those years before. It was comforting to you that there were still some things that remained in the old neighborhood. And despite the ever-changing reality of your adult life, your friends were still your friends. Though, of course, things exactly weren't the same for them either. Very recently, Terry publicly came out as a man, switching the spelling of his name to use a Y instead of an I. He also confessed his love for Miranda, which she excitedly reciprocated. They moved in together recently in the city out past Sunset Bird. One person who did disappear into the shuffle of memories inside your mind was Baxter. After his vacation in Sunset Bird one year, he was just gone. That was a loss you felt. He had become someone you consider a friend during those days. And then there's what became of the sad little boy you grew up with, Cove Holden. Of course, he was still a very important person in your heart. Cove was your family, he always would be. Unfortunately, you and Cove lived in locations far away from each other. He truly thrived in the continued efforts of cultivating, loving, and reporting relationships with his family and friends. His personality had changed, becoming more open than ever before. Cove was a warm and inviting, considerate man who took the lessons he learned over the years to treat the people around him with patience and understanding. When Cove eventually developed a picture of the future he wanted to have as an adult, it made perfect sense to you based on his interests. Cove decided against pursuing a degree and focused fully on building up a career. He got a small business of his own teaching surf lessons, and he still volunteered with Orca when his workload allowed it. As an adult, Cove was able to recognize and have diagnosed that he was on the autism spectrum. It was something he hadn't noticed by his doctors as a child, but he was still the same Cove he always was to you, and he was just glad to understand himself better. It thrilled you to see how happy and successful he'd grown up to be. Growth and change came for the Suarez family as well. Mr. Suarez continued to run the scuba shop with Mr. Holden, but that was only about the only constant that remained. They moved to a new condo in Prison Vista City as their 3 boys got older and the nest began to empty. The baby of the family, Nicholas, was eventually the only one left at home. George went off to a local college, staying in the dorms. Then there was the eldest son, Derek Suarez. Oh my god! He left the area years ago to attend an out-of-state college on a sports scholarship. You kept in touch with him during those days as you had in the past. Derek had since graduated. You were sure he would have success in whatever he pursued. The long-term direction of his career going forward was ambiguous to you, but there was still news Derek had been able to share. He was returning to the city where he grew up, and as always, Derek had a plan. Oh my god! The foggy and scratched glass door of the bus swung open with a gasp of air, allowing you and the rest of the passengers to disembark at your destination. No way. You stepped from the massive vehicle into the Prison Vista City bus station. Crowds of travelers bustled across the concrete floors. A constant stream of strangers came from hallways, shuttles, and other businesses. The station was absolutely packed. It was vacation season. Summer had only just begun, but the Californian heat was already immense. You'd be lucky if even a single day of your much anticipated trip was under 90 degrees. Arriving was still a great relief. Steaming in the humid bus station was definitely preferable to baking inside the walls of the bus itself. Ooh. It was a fairly short ride over, but still. You'd had plenty of that already in the long ride there. And you had already had to take a plane too. You already had to take a plane too. It was too far to have driven. But Derek had his own car, and so that would be your last bus ride until it was time to go home. One of your sweaty hands kept a slippery grip on the handle of your rolling suitcase. It was a well-worn piece, frayed at the edges and with an annoying loose wheel on the left side that dared you to try to keep it moving in a straight line. You'd had it since you moved out of your mom's house, and now it was returning with you, at least to a general area since you wouldn't be staying in Sunset Bird. Your accommodations were there in the city. All you had to do was inform your old friend Derek you were ready to be picked up. And so, in your hand was your unlocked phone with the contact screen up. You selected Derek's name, saw the last thought he had sent you, and texted him a quick message. Good luck on your trip. Let me know when to come by. I'll be ready for you. Derek, I'm in town now! You scooted closer to a wall, positioning yourself out of the path, but in a place that was still easily visible. It took only a minute to get situated, and your phone was already buzzing with a response. Coming! You cracked a smile at the screen of your cell and the brief message that lit it up. Then you put it away. He'd be there soon. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, the reunion's coming! Oh my god! There wasn't much else to do besides watch the tide of people go by and think. Recollections of how you ended up in that spot came to mind. The two of you had consistently kept in touch. He knew what was happening with you and you with him. For the past months, the catch-up calls and texts you have with Derek include updates on his process of moving. He decided to head back to the city, at least temporarily, to help his dad with his business and work some things out for him for his own future career prospects. Derek kept you in the loop with his house, hunting, logistics, the victories, and the setbacks in making a major life transition. It all came together less than a month ago. The Suarez family was naturally thrilled to have him there. George already lived near, only 40 minutes away, and Nicholas was still at home, so the whole team could be together again. The biggest brother was just happy to return to his own stomping grounds after all the years of being away. But it wasn't a familiar locale for only him. Sunset Bird was the next town over, he knew that. Derek's deep voice played inside your head. The animated way he spoke through the phone a few weeks ago was fresh in your memory. He talked about how he'd made it to his apartment with an extra room and that you should totally come to stay for a while. You'd be able to visit with his brothers and parents and your own parents in your childhood neighborhood, and you get to see him too. Oh, that's right, we went abroad! Right? Oh my god, I don't know. Finding a hotel in the area was always the biggest problem of coming back home. You had to appreciate the unique opportunity Derek had provided. Though, even if you had lived on the opposite end of the country, you would have tried to make it. He meant more to you than just a couch you could crash on. Seeing Derek was your main priority for the trip. You both worked it out so you could be there. Unfortunately, the other good pal from your youth couldn't make it, Cove Holden. He pouted a little about not getting to see Derek or return to Sunset Bird with you, but he recovered. Especially because he would be coming later that very summer. He simply wasn't able to do it twice in one season. You'd be with Cove then, and Derek would still be in town too. This time, though, would be bonding time for you and Derek. You were looking forward to the trip as much as you knew Derek was. It was going to be an amazing time, you were certain. The whole thing was nerve-wracking, but you didn't want to miss the chance. It had been a long time since you'd been together in person. You wonder what he'd think. It had been a long time since you'd been together in person. You worry what he'd think. Oh, that's just... Girl, why is the same option here twice? Okay. You changed over the years, but you hoped Derek and you would stay close. No. The whole thing was nerve-wracking, but you didn't want to miss the chance. Traveling, staying in a new place, seeing Derek, everything was difficult to deal with. You could only hope it'd be manageable in the end. Those ideal thoughts led to idly checking the time on your phone. It had only been 5 minutes since you sent the text. You put your phone away yet again. It was the grand tradition of being in a bus station, waiting somewhere, checking the time, and looking around. You went back to the third step. Throughout the spacious area, there were plenty of other travelers repeating the same exact process as you. Other than the people filling the space, the scene was virtually unchanged since the first time you see it. You could easily recall the exact day that was, Father's Day when you were 13. Derek had been so thoughtful, inviting you over to go to his house so you wouldn't be lonely for the holiday. He didn't make you go through any of it on your own. It wouldn't be much longer until he was by your side again. You let out a shaky breath. And then again, over the murmur of a bustling cloud, an echoing beat pounded through the air. It was the sound of rapid footsteps against the solid station floor. Pushing off from the wall, you scanned the crowd for the source. Oh no. It didn't take an I Spy champion to notice the man in a bright sleeveless sweatshirt sprinting towards the bus lane like he was about to miss the last ride of the day. But he didn't have a bag or ticket in hand. He wasn't there to go anywhere else. He had somebody to see. And that was you. Derek had made it. Oh my god, y'all. Oh my god, y'all, it's the moment we've been waiting for. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He neared the drop-offs. Oh my god. His head when his gaze fell on you to the other side. His mad dash abruptly came to a stop. Oh my god. Derek was a solid rock in the middle of a slow-moving river of unfamiliar faces. He grinned so much. Oh my god. A sparkling grin broke through the stillness. That part of him hadn't changed. 10 years older, but with just as much as boyish charm as ever. You were rooted in place. He might have been able to react, but you remained entirely frozen. Actually, no. You rushed to Derek and jumped into his arms. With your suitcase rattling behind you, you pushed through the crowd. Derek turned on his heels to change the trajectory of his path. He took bounding strides to close the rest of the distance between you and him. The moment you were upon each other, you abandoned the bag and leapt at Derek. Whoa. He caught and held you with the expertise of someone who had years of practice with a clean little brother. Though the way he pressed snugly against you wasn't at all the same kind of embrace he would give to Nicholas. You hugged him back tightly, taking in his physical presence for the first time in ages. It was a wonderful start to the reunion. Then he set your feet safely back on the ground.
It's been a while.
Oh my god! Bro, you hear his voice?
It's been a while, huh?
Oh my god! Y'all! Y'all. Sup, mate? It's been a while, huh? Oh my god. With the man himself right in front of you, it was impossible to appraise him fully. Your former match in height or lack of height had left you behind. For the first time, you had a look to see his face. Derek's back! He joked. Yeah, I am. Oh, it's good to see you, gal. Derek watched you so gently, his words couldn't ring anything but true. Setting his eyes on you was something he was grateful he could do. And hearing him call you by that long-time moniker really brought it home that you were well home. Your anxiety was already fading. Derek just being Derek was the reassurance you needed. Same to you, Derek.
Ready?
Nice, you ready to go? Got all your stuff? Yeah, it's only this suitcase. Which way are we going? That way, Derek rubbed the back of his head as his immense chair chipped away just a bit. Do you mind to have to take a stroll? I didn't bring the car. My place is about a 15-minute walk from here, and parking is wild. I would have had to park 20 minutes away just to find something outside of the apartment's reserved spot. That's the one thing about this place that I didn't miss. He let out an eerie chuckle, still awkwardly scratching at his hair. So we're gonna have to get in some steps. Honestly, it'd be nice to move around during that bus ride. I get that. Oh, but You press your finger to the top of your chin, thinking. You got here way sooner than 15 minutes. It was barely more than 5. Yeah. He attempted to shrug casually, but a smirk tugged at his mouth. It's 15 if you walk. It goes quicker if you run. Especially when you're a fast runner, like if you're a trained athlete, for example. Derek jumped in place to spread his feet apart and struck a superhero pose like he was still a 13-year-old. You didn't have to do that. Oh my god. They brought back the iconic one-shut eye open that doesn't blink. No worries, I didn't even feel it. Once again, completely carefree, Derek tilted his head over the way he came. Let's go. You reach in to collect your suitcase, only to grab empty air. You glance toward the ground just in time to see it rolling away, securely in Derek's hand. Wow, you just sprinted. A gentleman as always. You've got it. You took his free hand. Derek had his plan, you had to run. You moved to the side and slipped your hand around his... Oh. For an instant, he flinched at the touch, but you held firm and he eased into it. I can see how it is. I'm pulling the bag, but you're pulling me. Yep. I can never beat you. Yes, that's right, Derek. You and Derek left the station side by side and made your way through the vast city. He pointed out a towering building against the skyline in the distance. It was sparkling and knew it had to be at least 10 floors. That's where you were going. Having such an obvious landmark to work towards something was convenient. You weren't familiar with that part of the city. The condo where the Suarez family used to live was further away from the station. It was certainly very different from Sunset Bird. You easily knew every corner of the town and could go from end to end on foot. But you continued along, certain that you'd make it to your destination. Derek's pace wasn't too fast or too slow. He was conscious that the connection between you wasn't going to jerk you around. Derek chatted lightheartedly as your thoughts were drifting along. It felt completely natural being there with him. He didn't struggle to let you into his world. There was a place he'd left open and waiting for you. Derek swore as his name rang in your ears. Oh my god. The moment you saw him again, you had been hit with the realization you loved him. Being near him was exciting to you in ways it wasn't before. Your heart was pounding. The jaunt through the city breezed by. There was so much to catch up on. Even though you didn't sprint, the 15-minute walk still felt much closer to 5. When you arrived at the ground floor of the skyscraper Derek lived in, he showed you right up. At his front door, Derek fished a key from his sweatshorts. He swung the key on a silver loop around his fingers and joked about his near disaster from earlier that day. He'd run straight out of his apartment once you texted, and he had already hit the button for the elevator when he realized his apartment was left unlocked. Derek had to bolt back down the hallway as the elevator arrived, lock the door, and make it back to the other end before the elevator closed, but he'd made it. You quit being on such high floor really came in handy. The elevator had a longer way to go and gave him more time. Derek nodded with a laugh. Welcome to my house. Derek's apartment was a modern but still cozy space and completely spotless. A balcony wrapped around 2 walls of the abode. Through the crystal clear floor-to-ceiling windows, you could see the ocean. It's already looking good. It's looking good already, huh? Too bad I didn't put it together. It came furnished. None of this is yours? Nah. I didn't have a lot of important stuff in my old place. Nothing worth bringing all the way over. And who knows how long I'm going to be here. Getting new things didn't sound like a great idea. We'll see what happens long term. It might stay longer than I think. Still, at least for now, a prefab apartment it is. That is a smart way to handle it. Thanks. Derek cast his gaze over the room like he was meeting a friend. It had made a good impression on you, and that made him standing proud. But he cut himself off and focused his attention back on his actual guest. You can have my spare key while you're here, and I'll show you your room so you can put this away before we get distracted. That was said while Derek lifted up the suitcase he insisted on carrying. That'd be great. You were led towards the narrow hall at the side of the apartment and stopped right at the first door in the path. You'd arrived already. Derek opened the room for you, holding the door until you passed through. You entered your temporary bedroom. He followed you inside, still tugging the suitcase behind him. The furniture was a perfect match to the living area. It was easy to see that it had come as a full set. Derek set the bag against the corner of the bed to keep it out of the way. Man, it's incredible that you're here, especially now. George and Nico are both on summer vacation. They're super looking forward to see you. Can you believe they're going to be juniors next year? George for college and Nico for high school, obviously. Oh my god, are you serious? Nico was a stupid little brat. He spoke with an infectious affection and enthusiasm. We used to babysit them, and now they're practically scholars. Not to mention the fact that George outgrew me. Are you serious? I bet in a couple more years, Nicholas will too. So much for being the big brother. It was a blow to Derek, but he took it on the chin and snorted in good humor. George might have more height, but there's no way he'd be too muscle-sized. Yeah, that's totally true. It was a ponderous thing, hearing about other people getting older and progressing in life. Little George and Nicholas had grown up so much, but the same number of years had passed for you, and you were older than them. You were an adult with a full-time job and a place of your own. You'd achieved more than you had hoped for. But still, you felt like a teenager rather than a real adult. You weren't sure you would ever reach a point where you saw yourself as completely grown. Pause had formed before you realized it. You blinked and brought your mind back to the present. Derek offered an understanding smile and spoke to give a different type of offer. Want to see the rest of the apartment? I'll give you the tour. Yeah, that'd be great. You casually went through the still open bedroom door and Derek shut it behind you. The grand tour of Derek Suarez locale was started immediately. You got to see the scenic guest bedroom with all the amenities, and he showed out that that's in the hall with a closed door. Anything could have been beyond that point. Your helpful guide informed you of his bedroom. Isn't it crazy having the master bedroom at the end of the hall? Sometimes I still look down there and think that's gotta be my mom and dad's room. You're moving up in the world. You and Derek strolled back into the main area to explore the dining area and the kitchen. He described the treasures hidden inside each cupboard, and you even got to check inside the fridge. It was difficult to pretend the contents were some part of tourist adventure experience. The only things there spread out sparsely among the shelves were water, bottles, colorful sports drinks, a jug of 2% milk, a box of salad greens, and a few containers of some packed meals. Derek awkwardly cleared his throat, feeling as if he needed to explain the sight in front of you. I don't have much in stock right now. I usually eat at my parents' place or get takeout. I'm on vacation, sort of, a working vacation. But I should change that, especially now that there's somebody else here. He slung his arm to the side to close the fridge, but yanked it back a crack before it shut. The bottles in the door clattered. Oh, do you need water or anything to drink? I've got at least that. I'll have one of those sports drinks. I got you. Derek slunk his arms through the opening and pulled out a chilled, bright blue sports drink. He closed the fridge for real and straightened out his stance. You accepted the bottle from his hand. The sightseeing moved back into the living room from there. His fun tidbits that were about which switch turned on which light and how to turn on the fan. And here's the last stop. With a flourish, he pulled open the sliding door that led out to the balcony. Thanks for getting the door. You're welcome. Derek gestured once more to the wide open door. After you. You were losing track of how many doors he'd opened for you already, but you walked through the latest one into the sizzling summer air. Oh my god. The view was even more breathtaking than you'd realized from the living room. You could see for miles the sea, the sprawling city, and the rolling hills beyond that. Neither of you spoke for a minute. Derek moved past you and leaned against the railing. He stared out into the vast world ahead of him. You went to stand next to him. He didn't flinch. Derek welcomed your presence with ease. This was the part that was the most into about the apartment. Whatever place they got, and you had to have a balcony. Every small one would have been fine, but this one is amazing. Feeling settled, you sipped the refreshing sports drink Derek had given you. He picked your shoulders up and sent a grin your way. So that's it, the whole place. Unless you actually want to see inside my room. The suggestion was given with a coy brow raise and a little laugh. I would like to see it sometime, you teased. If he hadn't been holding on to something, he might have fallen over as such a stun. But it was an entirely positive way. He chuckled flattered. Then maybe later. Derek pushed himself up from the bar to stand at his full height. This is such perfect timing. We're both going to be in town for Father's Day tomorrow. That was right. You'd be present and spend the holiday in person with the Suarez family. You'd only ever stop being with the Suarezes for that day because you moved. Since Derek's surprise invitation to Father's Day that first year you met him, celebrating the holiday with the Suarez family had been a tradition. Derek, Mr. Suarez, Mrs. Suarez, and the little brothers all welcomed you into their family for the occasion and genuinely. It continued right up until you no longer lived in Sunset with your moms. It was special to you and to them. With how busy Derek got, sometimes those special occasions was the first time you saw him in months, but both of you made time to attend for as long as you could. Then even after you weren't able to be there in person, you still sent a happy Father's Day message long distance. And you also kept in touch with Mr. Holden by calling. Your old neighbor was an important fixture in your life, whether you were across the street from each other or not. You were looking forward to being in town for the occasion, to say the least. Derek spoke up again to elaborate on the plan. It's gonna be the usual, just going to my parents' place to hang out. I'm giving Dad a tie. You don't have to bring anything. He'll be happy enough to see you. I'd rather go than be left behind here. But you already sent a card from Mr. Holden before you left. It should arrive right on time, so that was taken care of. He rubbed his hands together eagerly. Tomorrow's gonna be a great day. And look at me, inviting you to Father's Day directly, like a big boy. Derek was so tickled inside now that he scratched his cheek and let out a rumbling chuckle. It's amazing, Derek. I'm proud. Thanks. His gaze swept over the city once more as his mind began to wander away from where his body was planted on the balcony. Man, it's insane how much time has gone by. It's been, what, 10 years since we first met? Wait. He whispered the words again with the gravity of a long-lost spell. 10 years? It's been 10 years since that first summer we spent together? Derek's voice sped up faster and faster. He ran a hurried hand through his short hair, stumbling back from the railing. Oh, wait, hold on. He couldn't face you anymore. Derek stared hard at nothing with his jaw clenched. It felt impossible then, but it happened. We actually became adults. Time's up. He finally realized that you'd been waiting for that. It took him long enough. He never forgot what 10 years meant. Derek's face darkened, mainly in the cheek area. He was full of an uneasy energy that came out as a constant shifting in the position of his feet.
Oh, man.
That's awkward, huh? I really hadn't planned this out as well as my teenage brain thought I had. It was true. Time was up. You and him were an entire decade older than you were then, and more than that, you had gone from being barely older than children to being adults. Derek had graduated high school and college. He had a car, a place of his own. He probably had student loans. It was just as he imagined as a 13-year-old, and at this point, that he intended to complete his vision by growing up dumb by marrying you. You wanted to be with him. It had nothing to do with that deal. A flare of long-hidden emotions were pressing against the inside of your chest, fighting to break through. As always, they were undeniable and unignorable. It made your heart race, but while your mind swam in a heat-fueled haze. In the fuzzy blur, you could still clearly recall a cute boy you'd never seen before running across the old neighborhood road to properly introduce himself one summer afternoon. You got further lost in memory as bright days spent in Sunset Bird and Prism Vista City and of the countless hours spent talking over the phone when that had become the only option. There was no way you could forget how much Derek had done for you over the years and everything you tried to do for him. Though what got stuck most of all was what you did together. You were a team. Why am I crying? Am I serious right now? Why am I crying? Oh my god. The reminiscence culminated in a final sparkling scene that summed up Derek very well in your mind. The moment he proposed to you in his own quite unique way almost exactly a decade ago. He was important to you. He was special to you. Derek himself described the sensation once. You cared about your friends and family, but when you needed a partner, you thought about him. Now, as all that washed over you, Derek in the present had remained standing in front of you, waiting for something to happen. The topic was not something he took lightly, and he couldn't take the silence. He wanted to hear your voice and spiritlessly prompt you. May. You did not want him to guess what you've been thinking. After so much gumption from those dangerous emotions, all that managed to escape from you was a huge sigh. You knew where you stood, but him knowing that the same thing was friendly too much for you to take. What would he think? How would things change? Your returning conflict slipped down your expression and looked concerning enough for Derek to smile reassuringly.
Don't worry about that.
No, go back. That was it. You resolved to tell me what you feel. What do I do? I don't think we should tell him how we feel. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Oh my god. Bro. What do I do? Oh my god. I don't want to know how I feel. Maybe. Bro, no, I don't like any of these options. And that's awful, cause me, I like the people kissing in video games. That's really surprising for me, honestly. But I don't think any of these options are right. I want to hear what he thinks. Where's the option for that? That was it. You were going to kiss him. I want to go with this. In preparation for what you were about to do, you took in a deep breath. Derek watched on in anticipation. You wrapped your arms around his neck and kissed him deeply. Oh my god. The way he moved was slow and steady. He didn't push you away or flinch or move at all, and finally the distance was close. His lips were so warm. You tingled all over with an indescribable excitement. Oh my god. Your first kiss as young teenagers was as sweet as it was, didn't compare. You could only hope it wouldn't be your last. When you pulled apart from him, he could merely gawk at you in complete and utter disbelief. As carefully as he had been paying attention, he couldn't process it. Oh no! We gotta tell him? It's Terry, the truth is I love you. You'd actually gone for it. Backtracking now wouldn't work. You can only press forward into the unknown. I know it hasn't been easy for us and we've been away for a long time, but you've been a part of my life for 10 years. And it means more to me than you've never let things fade than it would have had if we saw each other more because of coincidence or luck. This isn't coming from nowhere. I'm sure of what I'm saying and what I feel. Your heart had gone into the admission. Every cell in your body was willing the man in front of you to understand the seriousness of it all. Very unfortunately, his wide-eyed stare remained in place. You couldn't get a hint of what he thought. Perhaps he was lost in the flashes of your shared moments the way you had been before. Whether you were right or wrong, you were the one left in suspense now. Painfully slow, his stare hardened. Oh no. His features went from wide-eyed to tighter, then he opened his mouth. And he closed it again. Derek instead pressed a hand to his chin and moved back. As he pulled away, you let him slip through your hands. You wouldn't hold him back if he didn't want that. He turned away and continued moving. Derek had stirred to pace. His tempo was marked by firm, wide, quick steps. He swung his arms with 2 fists back and forth in stiff arcs like a pair out of sync metronomies. He disappeared around the corner edge of the balcony, come back around, and after he reached the wall on the other side. When his path had brought him closer to you once more, he stuck a finger up in the air. Both you and him seemed pretty convinced that he was going to talk that time, but he didn't. The hand dropped and he went around again. Embarrassment from his blatant struggle added even more frizzled energy to his retreat. Pacing was a typical method of Derek's for working out his thoughts or keeping busy when he didn't want to keep still. Despite that, you couldn't say you would expect this reaction to your emotional vulnerability. And that's not what you were hoping for either. Finally, while he was at a distant point of his loop, Derek shouted in answer of sorts. This isn't bad news, you didn't do anything wrong. Of course, the fun thing he wants to do is assure you, even in a situation like that you were currently wading through. Derek's important momentum felt parapule from how badly you wanted to speak with him, but it did help that he hadn't truly forgotten you were there. He steamrolled back towards your direction, self-inflicted and self-direction frustration on his face. Derek marched straight to you and swerved at the last moment, however, it wasn't a full turn. He only shifted halfway around and plopped himself on the top of the balcony railing. Derek ruffled his whole hand through his short brown hair as if it might get his brain sorted the way he wanted it to be. When that wasn't effective, he weakly tilted his face to rest his cheek against the metal frame instead. He stared out at the sky out in the distance.
Really messed up.
Oh my god. I really messed this up. The sound of his voice was crushingly defeated. He almost choked on the next word. I'm not good enough. I never have been. His hands gripped the edge so tight they shook. I give up. You gasped. Your thought went to light speed overdrive, yet Derek was faster. In an instant, he snapped his head up.
No.
No, I don't. Forget that I said it. Forget all of this. He pushed himself back to his full height and faced you directly. Bro. May, if you're not having second thoughts about me, would it be alright if we could do this one more time? Yes! Which one? Which one? What I said or the kiss you teased? Being coy might have been the wisest option, but after how difficult it was for you and Derek to get this far, but it couldn't be resisted, he took it on the chin. Either works for me. Okay, then. He smacked his hands together in a very satisfying clap. Derek wasn't holding back now. Alright, Fleshly, you and me on the same page here. We'll make it work. Should I start? Do you want to go? Would you mind? No way, I've got it this time. Derek rolled his shoulders and stretched his neck from side to side, and lastly he put on his game face. May, there's something I want to say. It's something I've thought about for a long time. I'm listening. Thank you, but first I've actually got something else to say. Are you serious? Oh my god. I love these two. Oh my god. It's that you're incredible. I can always count on you. And when we get to be together, it's some of the best moments of my life, and I want to be better because of you. And
The truth is,
his words had already moved you deeply. Before taking the ultimate pledge, he threaded his fingers with yours to help ground both of you. I love you, May. I really do. Oh my god. I love you too. You knew it. You had been so certain. You and Derek were partners. Everything about your relationship came down to the way that you had supported one another. Despite the struggle to make this leap and all the time you'd been kept apart, you could still make it. The score was May and Derek 1, May without Derek 0. Derek let out a low laugh with deep creases in his brow.
oh man.
Daniel wasn't prepared for this, for once. Can we talk about heaven the first time? His mouth fell into a frown.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. Derek looked at you through wistful lidded eyes. It was enough to make the world feel cold, no matter how hot the summer sun was. Honestly, I liked you back then when I suggested that deal. It was hard for me, definitely one of the monumental things I actually managed to accomplish. And as terrifying as it was to offer that deal, it was at least an option. I didn't even consider going to the direct route of saying that I liked you. That was 100% not on the table. It still wasn't up until about 3 minutes ago anyway. Derek managed to sneak in a cute quip with his usual grin before sullenness caught up to him again. I'm not entirely dense. Oh my god. I knew you cared about me. That meant a lot to young Derek. But that's not the same as being the one who you'd want to share your life with, right? I could tell myself that story, and it made enough sense to get through the day. Part of me was in denial. Maybe you noticed? One brow of his was lifted teasingly on that last night. It got you to crack a smile through the heaviness. That was probably the goal.
I don't deserve that.
I didn't want to hope. I hadn't earned that. He threw his hands up and self-perceived lost. And so I was eternally doomed to the reserves by myself. That's why it took a second for what you did to get through this thick skull. You deserve to have someone who cherishes you. You're wonderful. He smiled, even though it was apologetic and half-formed. It was still nice to see.
Thank you.
Thank you. No matter how good and understanding you are, that only made me believe about all that stuff about not deserving it more. But that sucks. You lost whether you tried or didn't, and so did I. I'm sorry I thought about your feelings so badly. Derek was shamefaced. It was something he never wanted you to have to know. That didn't change what you thought of him. I get it. I don't blame you for that.
Seriously great.
Thanks. You're seriously great. With pure earnestness and a gentle voice, he made a new resolution. I'm not going to quit before I've actually tried anymore. Not when you gave me a chance. Then the shrieking Derek and the sober Derek were outshined by the excited Derek you were so familiar with. Oh my god. The two of us didn't need the deal. It was only an excuse, and I'm officially calling it off. We've got a new plan, one that's 1,000% better. He beamed at you with his most confident and dazzling grin. I love you. Oh. Thank goodness this wasn't easy for me to do either. Woo! In enthusiasm, Derek flung himself around you. It almost knocked you two to the ground. Luckily, you stumbled together and managed to keep your footing. Derek had leaned over you with your legs crossed as if he dipped you in a dance and was laughing the whole time. You were giggling just as much. It was wonderful. He helped you get you out more right, but you kept snuggling. You were deliriously giddy. You didn't even know what to do. You might have had to start pacing yourself, but lucky for you, had the idea's man for a boyfriend. He already had a new direction to take things in.
You okay?
Hey, so how tired are you after all that traveling? Because I was thinking, well, if you want, we could go visit our families now. His enthusiasm was palpable, and you felt ensnared by his sparkling green eyes. I know we're going to see them tomorrow, but there's no law saying we have to wait till then. The idea had you re-energized and ready to hit the road again. The corners of your mouth curled into a grin. Count me in. Awesome. And we do something that our family should hear about. He let us know with chuckle and bashfully rubbed the back of his neck. Oh, yep, now we get to tell people we're dating. Girl, oh. I never actually told my parents about that deal, the let's get married in 10 years plan. It's okay, I never told my moms either. Then are we pretending that never happened, or... I wouldn't mind talking about it. Really? You'd admit that happened? Of course, it's a sweet memory. You don't have to hide it. Huh, thank you. That's a relief, honestly. Our families are gonna get a kick out of it. Definitely. But that's set. I'm gonna call my parents to let them know what's up. I know they'll be there. I'll see about getting in touch with George, too. If we're lucky, we might get a full house. His mouth cracked into a fond smile. This will be quick. You won't even miss me, or maybe you will. I wouldn't mind that. You teasingly shoot him away. I won't be able to if you don't go. Get to it. True. Satisfied, Derek pulled his phone out, brought it to his ear. He began to walk away in preparation for the talk. Since he was busy with that, you decided to return to your guest room. You considered freshening up by changing. Tapping your fingers on the top of your bag, you cycled through the options in your mind, but nothing felt right. Eventually, you settled on using the bathroom and splashing some water on your face instead. As you crossed the apartment, you peeked over at Derek. There was no way that you can know what's being said, but he shot you an exaggerated thumbs up. You took that as a strong sign that all was going well. Hopping excitedly, you gave him 2 thumbs up back. You couldn't wait to get going. It wasn't very long before your visit was properly arranged. The calls were ended and you were leaving the apartment behind. And this is where I'm gonna leave today's episode, everyone. Oh my god, y'all. Bro, we said I love you and we kissed Derek. First episode of the epilogue. I love this. I don't really know. Maybe it's just really different with Cove because it seems like, I guess more like lighthearted maybe. But then again, they have been friends up until this point and have been off the deal. So I'm wondering if I shouldn't have said anything, honestly. But, yeah. That's all for today, everyone. If you guys enjoyed it. But lastly, you're Jim, and thank you for watching. Wonderful day, everyone. Bye!